every year, millions of Americans end up in the emergency room simply because they had no other choice. Today, we're going to show you exactly how that happens using 4 years of real patient data from Solomon-Fell Health. Now, we started with a core question because we wanted to know, do patients end up in the emergency department because their condition suddenly worsens or because social barriers leave them with no other option? Now, for the first hypothesis, it's about social barriers and patient journeys. We stated that patients with financial and transportation barriers are not dropping out of the system. They are being redirected away from affordable routine clinic care and toward the emergency department as their only viable option. Now let's look at the average encounters per journey by social barrier. They are broken down into 4 parts. Transport only, which has the highest average 3.46 visits, financial only, no barrier, and both barriers, which has the lowest average of visits. Now, let's look at the donut chart. 99.8 of all journeys belong to no barrier patients. Only 0.8 belong to patients with both barriers. Now, this is critical because a tiny group is generating non-proportion more visit, meaning they are overusing the system through the wrong channels. Now, let's look at this chart. This chart is basically patients of overall that has any barrier versus non-barrier that included one ED visit. Now, let's see. The person that has barrier has 40.1%, which is nearly 5 times higher than patients that have no barrier, 8.4%. Now, to prove this isn't just an artifact of our data, we brought in the US Census Bureau American Community Survey. Now, patients in neighborhood where fewer than 5% like a car report transport barrier at just 2.9%. But in neighborhood where more than 50% like a car, reported barrier jumps to 9.8%, which is 3.3 times higher than before. Now, two independent sources, but same conclusion. So we can say that the transportation barrier is real and it drives the patients to the emergency room. Now, but now let's look at the top diagnosis. As you can see, we cannot see that there are any emergential or critical diseases or diagnosis. As we can see, there are only chronic conditions that require consistent management, but not emergencies, like hypertension, general adult medical examination, long-term insulin. They are all chronic, not emergential. Now, when we map the home location, 3 countries stood out: Harvey, Russell, and Butler County. Now, for our recommendation, instead of spreading out resources thin, SVH must target Harvey, Russell, and Butler County with proactive chronic diseases outreach program before this patient deteriorate. Now, for our second hypothesis, it's the digital gap. Now, there is a second problem. The patients who visit SVH most frequently are also the one least reachable through digital communication. Now, let's look at our MyChart visit analysis. As we can see, patients who explicitly decline to enroll in digital portal average 3.6 visit over 3 years. This is nearly 50% more than activated users who averaged 23.8 visit. The patients who said no to MyChart are not non-users. They are power users who just show up in person every single time. Now, let's look at who are they. The age profile shows that patients born between 1930 and 1960 dominate overwhelmingly. These are today's seniors, coming in regularly for the exact same chronic condition we saw in barrier analysis. Yet they are completely unreachable through digital channels. So this makes sense because they are seniors. So maybe they are not familiar with the digital products. Now, when we see the diagnosis also, it's chronic conditions, same as the before. Now, for our recommendation, SVH must build non-digital communication pathways, introduce phone-based reminders and physical mail specifically for elderly patients who decline MyChart because this group visits more than anyone else. Now, for our last hypothesis, it's the system is already overloaded. Finally, we arrive at our most critical finding. Even when vulnerable, patients successfully reach SVH, the system itself is so overloaded that their journey forward is blocked by bottlenecks that stretch for months. Now, look at our provider load analysis. The dash line is our 70 percentile or the third quartile bottleneck threshold at 267 patients per provider. So emergency medicine sits at 1,252 patients per provider, and pediatric hospital lies at 1,228 provider. Now, both are nearly 5 times the threshold that we already set at the third quartile. Now, you can also look at the time. You can see that emergency medicine has 67 days, dermatology has 97 days. Now, let's look at the scatter plot of load versus wait time correlation. Now, statistically, the overall correlation across the hospital is very weak at 0.06. But here's the important thing. The low number exists only because most departments have manageable loads. The real story is the red cluster in the upper right, like emergency medicine. Now, they are perfectly in the danger zone for the specialties our vulnerable patient rely on. So high patient load but massive delays go hand in hand. Now, What happened after a patient leaves the ED? Almost every outgoing edge on our network graph is red, taking more than 14 days. So wait times from the ED to operating room average 204 days, to labor and delivery to 8 days, and to normal outpatient is 115 days. While extreme outliers pull this mean average up, the patterns remain undeniable. Now, our gap days box plot confirms this unpredictably. Emergency medicine has an extremely wide spread from 0 to 85 days for the middle 50% of the patients. In every overloaded specialty, there are patients waiting 3 months or more between visits. For someone managing diabetes or hypertension, a 3-month gap in care is not just inconvenient, it can be dangerous. Now, there is no fast exit from the emergency department. The vulnerable patients we identified are trapped. Now, the recommendation for this hypothesis, SVH must relieve the emergency medicine bottleneck, expand capacity, and create fast-track pathways for ED referred patients to reduce these massive wait times. Okay, thank you.